We'll see.
All right, how we sounding? Whacking you, fucking.
Well, you're the one that
dickhead.
sounds fine, aren't you? You're
Yeah, I know.
fine.
Well, then you guys start talking.
I am talking. That's why I interjected.
Oh, big word. Also, Whacking said I needed a haircut in the last stream, so fuck you.
Yeah, I saw
that
that.
comment's no longer there anyway. And I don't need a haircut. What are you talking about?
Just kicked my rabbit.
I'm gonna have to one sec. The sun has risen.
yeah. Like I'm getting the same. I'm like fucking Two-Face over here. Look.
I'm gonna have to. Hold on, sorry.
Stop. What does auto stop even mean?
All right, how we sounding, Joaquin? Obviously, you've been hearing Caden over the last minute, and Deck hasn't said much. But give me your best rendition of Kate Perry's Firework, Deck.
Please don't.
I can't see.
He's thinking about it. He's asking you to talk.
Hi. Hello. Hi. Are we cooking? Or are we not cooking?
Let him cook, man.
I think we're good.
Yeah,
I think we're cooking.
Sweet. Right. How weird, because that was straight up a fresh fucking boot of OBS anyway. Everyone good? Yeah, we're all good. Sweet. All right, so well, it was fucking botched the first time, wasn't it? So
do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind?
Did you just pull up the lyrics? You're reading the lyrics.
Yes.
You gotta ignite the light and let it shine just over in the night like the 4th of July.
Ooh, he's Mike. It was like dampening your voice. Yeah, well done, Joaquin. He's now fucking bragging that if he wasn't here, we would have done a whole podcast. I mean, it's good that he was here.
Yeah, he is our mod. He's our mod after all.
It's about time we do what we pay you for. All right, so
we've been chatting over the weekend, haven't we, Joaquin? We've been having big chats.
Oh, great! You're planning on replacing me with Joaquin? Is that why you asked for? Is that why you asked for all the OBS templates and settings?
Yeah, that's right.
Bit weird.
Need to get some diversity.
Fucking sun, man. Which one is it coming out of?
Right. Yeah, that's really weird. OBS is so fucking weird like that. Is there a premium OBS? Like, do they do a premium one? Because it makes me feel like they do it.
They just botch it.
They just throw in some loose code. Yeah, just so you're.
It's like what Xbox is going to do with card. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly the same. Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll just do a little recap on that. That's just because obviously you guys were completely botched. So basically we were just talking about what we've been playing and what we've been doing. So we'll just throw it back to Caden and you can just do another little recap on what you've been playing.
Yeah, that's cool. So for the last couple of months, just playing Baldur's Gate 3. It's pretty much taken over every single game I've been playing. It's been my main focus. Finished it yesterday morning, and it was just a brilliant experience all the way through. Literally from Act 1 to Act 3. Every side quest, every interaction, it was combat, all of it was such a highlight for me. It was a brilliant experience.
Nice. Delightful.
Yeah.
Very nice. And I remember you saying you've been sprinkling in the finals as well. Does finals have a ranked mode? Yeah, or is it just cash?
It does.
Okay, it does have ranked.
No, it's ranked mode. But it's weird though because the ranked mode is well, not completely, but it's a different game mode compared to the casual game modes. It's a bit weird. So like in casuals, you've got, I can't remember the name of them. You've got like quick cash and you've got bank it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've played a deck, haven't you?
Yeah, I played it.
But basically, ranked is bank it, but it's got 2 vaults essentially, rather than 1. And it's 4 teams rather than 3 teams, and it's a tournament setting, so you do 8 4v4, and then 1 4v4, and then a 1v1. Sorry, no, that doesn't matter. No, but yeah,
you can do it, buddy. You can do it.
There's 2 games going on at once, 4 teams and 4 teams, obviously all against each other, and then the top 2 of each game go against each other, but in a 1v1, yeah, and then in a 1v1 in the final.
Oh damn!
It's really cool. It's
that is
really
kind of a cool way of doing it. Yeah.
It's unique and interesting.
So it's like
But-
knockouts. So if you fuck up the first round, you're just straight up out. You can leave and just go into a
Yeah.
new rank because you're out of that bracket.
Yeah, you
if
can
want.
you can join. You can go second. You can qualify as long as you keep getting second. You qualify until the final, of course.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
The final
It's
strikes me as a really weird game for like ranked. Like I just feel
Mm.
like ranked in that game would be real weird because
pretty
it's such a
toxic.
casual game, and I
Mm.
mean that in a good way. But like, it's as for ranked, I bet it's like a mess.
You just
like
get
the meta must be
it's
stupid.
awful. So you
Yeah.
just get two heavies with shields. You throw down all the shields on the vault.
Yeah.
And then you just get one of them to take it over, and you just get the medium to heal them, and then that's it.
Ugh,
It's
that
awful.
sounds awful.
But like you said, Deck, it is a really fun casual game because you can just run around and do whatever you want, and chances are it'll work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fair play.
That's for sure where it shines in my mind.
Yeah.
Tim, quick recap from you.
I completed Tales of Arise. Good JRPG, recommend it. Been on a backlog for ages and ticked that one off. And I have been playing more Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's still fantastic. I've got so much shit to do in that game. I've only finished one battle pass since we've actually been playing it again. So I've got I've still got 4 more to go, which is kind of nuts. So I've got lots of things to chase. Yeah, I know. Well, it just goes to show like how much we
Bummer.
Yeah, you played it without me, but it's no, obviously it's great. I'm having a great time with it, and yeah, I'm excited to see what they'll do with it, and what like the next battle pass is going to be, and all that kind of stuff. Is that I guess that will be coming out in January. When was the latest battle pass?
I think it was November.
Do they do one a month, or do they do? No, they do one every 3 months, don't they?
They do quarterly now because that was the whole thing that they took ages in the first year, and now they've got like the cadence of 3 months.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So still having a good time with that, and I have recently been playing Starfield again as well. So I booted that up last night for a few hours and played it again this morning for a couple of hours, and I'm having a decent time with it. I'm remembering it more. I'm having a better time with it now than I was before. Is the best way I can describe it. I wouldn't really still say I'm having a great time with it, and it still has its annoyances, but it's getting there. I literally couldn't play it for more than an hour before, so yeah, we're getting there with it, and maybe I'll see it through to the end. But yeah,
and we were saying before that spoilers that you got to your part of the game. Barrett died, but for us, Caden said Andrea died for him, and Sarah died for me. So we were
and Andrea didn't die for me. I went to go save her. So
Sam
Caden. Yeah.
Oh, my bad, Samco.
Yeah.
CJ.
Yeah, CJ.
Good old CJ. Yeah.
Gotta love right, him. I'm with you. Yeah.
Must be the other space cowboy.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. Something Starfield bad. Something mixed reviews on Steam. Something most talked about game. Something. I finished Resident Evil 4.
Yes, your first Resi game. Well done, man. Round of applause.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'm really broadening my horizons this year. 2024 is the year of broadening new horizons.
Cheesy
by playing niche
games.
IPs. Yeah,
and I do hope now you're going to go on to RE2 for Games Pass.
You should.
Yeah,
they're short. Maybe. If that's any incentive, they are short. You could probably get both those games done in like just over 10 hours, both 2 and 3.
Maybe.
I recommend playing 2 twice though. Just that's what you should do.
Yeah. Get both perspectives. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not on the roadmap, but maybe I will. I mean, I had a good time with Resi 4. That's like a 9 out of 10 video game. I think the story made no fucking sense whatsoever, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Shoot, boys.
Roundhouse zombies.
Give him a roundhouse kick. Yeah. You give him the old RKO. Just do his
backflips, dude.
That is, yeah. I thought like the flow of that game was just immaculate. Like encounter to encounter into the next area, like incentivized to explore a little bit. Like no filler, very lean. That was just a good time. That was a good time. That was a good video game. And I just wanted to shout out because I said to you, Tim, didn't I, the other week, that I was really surprised how like kind of Souls like it felt in
It's level design.
the world design, in the level design. Yeah, that it was like, you'd go down a path and then you go down a thing and then it loop back to itself and you go through a different path. Yeah, and obviously I can't speak to the original, but Tim was saying that is kind of representative of Resi 4 back in the day. So
And
I
2
just that
and
just
3.
surprised me a bit.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, it just surprised me a bit. See some inspiration there. It felt like inspiration anyway, especially because Resi 4 is, like European Gothic, very much like what Dark Souls and Demon Souls is. And what have I started? And I just started, so I should have. I don't have a picture of it. So I made. Do you guys know what I mean if I say geek made designs? It's like kind of high budget. You can Google it now. Geek made designs. They do like these wooden post-industrial like controller and console holders. So it's like wood, and they carve out the wood, put your controller in, and you can put your console in and stuff like that. And it looks really nice. And a headset stand. Really expensive, but really nice. And I've always wanted one, but it's like really not in budget at the moment. So we were just like, fuck it. Should we just go down to like B&Q and buy like a plank of wood and some like pieces of metal and see what we can do? We did just that. Put pieces of metal on it, like literal coat hangers. Cradles the DualSense perfectly. Cradles my other headset perfectly. And then I just took the the charger for the Elite Series 2 that you slot it onto, that you just pop it on top of. I took that and just super glued it onto it, so I've got like this plank of wood that I just pop my controller onto, and it looks great. So that was like a little project over the week, and the reason that's important is because I wanted access to my DualSense because I've started Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay,
let's go.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. Although I get the feeling Joaquin might shout at me. He really doesn't like it when I talk about PlayStation. Isn't that true, Joaquin?
Yeah, well, whatever. You get used to it because Rebirth's coming out in February, so I'm going to be talking about that as well. So
get used to it. Xbox is going third party anyway.
Yeah,
we're going to stop making consoles. So
we're good. What's a good name to change our podcast to if we wanted to be more PlayStation aligned?
Oh man,
they don't have a good they don't have a good feature like Quick Resume. That's the
DualSense podcast. TriSense. That is pretty must say, eh?
Haptic feedback podcast. The haptic.
Oh wow, that's good as well.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Ugly fucking collars podcast.
Whoa.
Stupid looking console.
Well, there goes our PlayStation deal. It's working on
that. Yeah, I've played it for about 8 hours now. 8 hours. The Quick Bend Over podcast. Joaquin has just said to us.
Fair play. I'm into it.
I'd consider it.
Yeah. You might have to do that one. We'll have to stream that one like on like OnlyFans or something. Don't think YouTube's the platform for that one.
I've got a director's cut for it. I got it on sale like months ago, like 20 quid or something. I think it's good so far. It's really pretty, obviously, and they've done a good job of like making the DualSense work for that game. Like particularly when you're on like the horse, the vibrations change when you're on like the grass versus gravel, and that's just like a really nice touch.
That's cool. Yeah.
They've got a lot of nice touches like that. Combat feels great. I will say I don't know if I haven't read any reviews for Ghost of Tsushima, so I don't know like what the consensus is. Like I don't really know, but like the editing of the dialogue is really weird. Everyone talks really fucking quickly. It's like as soon as someone finishes a sentence, someone else starts speaking. And it's just a bit jarring at times, and some of the facial animation is a bit stilted as well at times. It's like no big deal. It's like whatever, but like I just keep noticing like people will speak so fast. I'm like, are you guys okay? It's like ADHD samurais. What's going on?
Maybe something to do with trying to match up the English, the English dub with the Japanese mouth movements, maybe, or something for the character models.
I think it's English first, and then they have a Japanese dub.
Okay.
So I just think the editing of it is just a little bit weird. And generally, even though the dialogue is good, I can tell like the direction isn't quite there. Oh, there he is. He's got a
oh, it's a Ghost of Tsushima character, is it?
Nice. Yeah, it's the main character. Yeah. I can tell at times. I can tell that people are like really haven't been directed very well to like who they're replying to. Like it sounds like people are recording from different booths. like the inflection is wrong. Like it does, they don't know the tone of who they're meant to be replying to. Again, it's only really a small thing, but like I've just picked up on it a few times. But you know, other than that, it's really good so far. I'm having a really nice time, and I'm itching to play some more. But that kind of does it. I don't think there's anything else I've been playing. The only other thing that I did want to report on is like I for ages wanted to do. Do you guys use remote play at all for like anything?
Not really.
Oh, remote
I
play
have.
is different to the cloud, isn't it? Yeah. No, I don't think
Mm.
I've ever used remote play. No.
Okay.
Download a
So
game,
you can
maybe?
remote play. Obviously, you can. Huh?
Because it isn't part of like remote play. You can like turn on your console and like start a download to your console as well. I might have done that before, but I feel like that's a feature of remote play.
Oh,
It's not remote play,
yeah.
but it's the same idea. Like you turn
Yeah.
your console on and you just stream the console to your
Yeah.
device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But over Wi-Fi rather
Yeah.
than
Over
like cloud.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
So, you know, like on the Xbox app, you can remote play, etc., etc. So it's a better way to do it if you're in your own house rather than cloud. You know, depending on where you are. But there isn't a way to remote play from a Mac. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. It's really always frustrated me because like doing it on my phone is fine, but I've got quite a small phone. I've got an iPhone 8, so it's like never really that ideal. So I've always wanted to do it from my Mac, but there isn't. They don't support like an Xbox app, there's no way to do it. I can cloud stream, but I can't, which also means I can't play games that I own but aren't in Game Pass. So it has to be Game Pass stuff.
You could image Windows onto your Mac and just boot into Windows.
Yeah, so I've heard like about partitioning the disk and stuff, but it feels like a lot of faff just for something.
Yeah, it is.
I'm only going to use occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I finally found like an open source app. Like I've been through like loads of things, but I finally found an open source app. So I just wanted to give a shout out to it called Greenlight. If anybody's in the same position as me, you can just go on the website and download it. And you can just remote play from it. So I haven't given it a proper go yet. By my personal data, yeah, that's right. But you know, it's worth it. So I just wanted to give that a quick shout out because for some reason that's still not supported. I feel like it really needs to be, especially with this kind of we're everywhere kind of push that Xbox is making. It feels a bit ridiculous, but
I mean, Apple are a bit weird though, aren't they? Sometimes
Apple, it probably is Apple's fault. To be fair,
they're
probably
probably
is Apple's fault,
gatekeeping it in some way, I would imagine. But
yeah. Cool. So that's us. Fellas, before we finished off 2023, we had a bit of a chat about how the year was for us. You know, we did our sort of game of the years. Well, Caden didn't. And then we spoke about 2024 and like what we can expect from the platform and stuff. So I've done the courtesy of doing us like a little grid, and we can talk about the games that we know and things that maybe we don't know, and just make a couple of predictions. You know, I'm not asking for anything solid here, but we can get loosey goosey with it. You know, is Towerborn going to be fucking killer? Is it going to suck? Is Avowed going to be like, you know, game of the year contender? Is it going to, you know, be below expectations? Is it going to be the Redfall of Obsidian's work? You know, who knows? So I just figured we'd go through this grid and we'll just have a bit of a talk about, you know, what we know is coming and then a bit more of the speculative stuff, and then we can get onto like the only two bits of news afterwards, which are a bit more leak and rumory. So and then we can refer back to it later in the year and see how we got on. So what we know is coming this year, guys, from like the Xbox side of things, and there are more, but this is kind of the bigger stuff. You know, I'm not going to go into like every single Game Pass deal. I sort of mean the stuff that Xbox is publishing. Towerborn, Flight Sim 2024, Hellblade 2, Avowed, Ara History Untold, Call of Duty 2024, of course. Can't forget about that bad boy.
Yeah.
First party game, Call of Duty, Call of Duty Gulf War, probably.
Gulf War?
It's probably what it's going to be. Not like, you know, like tennis war, not like cricket war. But the golfs.
Yeah.
And Stalker 2.
But, you know.
Yeah.
So again, Ken?
Nothing, nothing, don't worry.
Speak up a bit, buddy.
It's a Gulf War, not Gulf War.
Yes.
Yeah, spelled with a U.
Pretty sure that's what.
Fucking, that's
I'm pretty sure that's what I said.
I'm
pretty sure I didn't do anything wrong here.
Shall I get this grid up on the screen to make it easier, or do you think it's fine to just leave it?
I don't know. You can do whatever you think, man. You're the big boy. But during this, I think it will be a good time to put gameplay up, like as we go over the game. So if that's going to be a pain, then
no.
then maybe don't.
Yeah. All right.
So I mean, if we start a Towerborn, right, and get some gameplay up about that, that is a game from Stoic. Hurry up, would you?
Yeah, now, dude.
Stoic Studio. So that's the team behind Banner Saga. Have any of you played Banner Saga?
No.
Isn't that off? No, I'm thinking of something else.
Isn't it like PC only Banner Saga?
Nope.
Well, fuck me right. I don't know. No, I've never played it.
No, it's on Xbox. It's on all platforms, but it's like they've got this really pretty art style, reviewed pretty well. It's a strategy game. But it looks really pretty, actually.
I know exactly what I know it is now. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and I forgot actually how good it looks. And they've done like 3, I think. They've all reviewed pretty well, with the third one coming in at like mid-80s. And so these guys are making Towerborn, and Towerborn is being published by Xbox, to our knowledge, as an exclusive, Game Pass day one. We also gameplay, right? We all know what game I'm talking about. It's like the Castle Crashers kind of Monster Hunter-y. Yeah, Tim will have it up on the stream because he's a good little lad.
Mm-hmm. I do indeed.
What do we think about Towerborn, guys? And you know, I guess maybe I should outline this. Like, the way I want us to kind of think about this is, what's like a lock? What's like guaranteed for this sort of game? You know, or maybe, you know, what is there going to be any L's taken throughout the year? And then maybe like what's the long shot? Like as we kind of go through this, like, so Towerborn is a lock. We know it's happening. But like, any predictions about this game? Whether it's the quality, we think it looks fun. Is it going to suck? Like, does it stay Xbox exclusive? You know, I just kind of wanted to put it to you guys. Like, what do you think about Towerborn? What's the excitement level here?
Is it kind of like a side scroll brawler, like kind of like Streets of Rage kind of thing? Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I mean, we've been kind of co-op lately has been a little bit dead, I think. In my
bit dry, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
So it seems like that's the focus of this. It's focusing on co-op, which is a lovely little idea. But I don't have much experience with the Banner trilogy. I know I've always scrolled past it on Games Pass and thought it looked interesting. But the art style looks lovely, like nice simple combat and nice like kind of like fantasy kind of idea. Like, I'm excited for it. Like a fun little co-op game we can all just jump on for a good time. I would like to see a little bit more.
I can see, yeah. So I'm with you, yeah, absolutely, and I can see what Queen is saying in the chat. It's like a service game, and you're like, I don't know if you saw like the overworld bit, like you move the tower around this like hexagonal grid system that's the overworld, and it seems to be like, I don't know if it's like class based or if it's weapon based. I think it's weapon based in the same way the Monster Hunter is. Like, you have a weapon and you upgrade those weapons, and then you get monster parts for better weapons. So it does seem to be this kind of Castle Crashery Monster Hunter hybrid, which I think is a really good idea. Tim, I know you're busy sorting out the thing. Should we come back round to you?
No, you're good. No. I think Towerborn looks like an absolute banger. I'm absolutely buzzed for this game. I think it's literally like the spiritual successor to like something like Castle Crashers, but with just like way more depth, like we've been saying. Yeah, I just think it looks really good. It's hard to get a vibe on the sort of like, obviously we've seen like combat and stuff like that, but it'd be quite interesting if they take like, I don't know, the vibe in the game. Like, do you think it will be like kind of funny and not take itself so seriously, or do you think it will be like a bit of a, you know, this is just an adventure game, this is your task, you're these characters? Or do you think they'll weave in like comedy and wackiness into it and stuff like that?
It looked pretty lighthearted to me. It didn't seem like it had much of it.
Yeah, I kind of get that vibe as well. Yeah. But yeah, man, it just looks really smooth and buttery, and I just love these sort of games. And
the animation is good as well, isn't it? Like,
it's so good.
I like it.
Yeah, like everything from enemies to the characters you're playing just looks so good. And like, even when you hit them, like their animations of like just like wiggling and being knocked back and all that kind of stuff, it just it just looks so good. And yeah, this is the sort of thing where I can't wait to play this with you guys. It's like just a 4-player mash and beat 'em up. Yeah, shit's gonna be so much fun. I think this is. I mean, who's to say? Because last time I said an indie game would be a banger was Benedict Fox, and fuck me, right? So who knows?
Yeah, man. But that was really sad. I mean, to It still did okay, but it was like, yeah, I think it looked like it was going to be like a darling hit of the year, but then it just wasn't. So it's a real shame.
Yeah, a real shame indeed.
I'm just going to read. I just want to read a little bit off the blurb of the game because I actually haven't seen this before. So I'm just on the Steam page to get an idea for tone, maybe. The Belfry stands as a beacon of hope and safety amongst the ruins of humanity in the city of Numbers, with monsters lurking right outside the tower's walls. You are an ace, born anew from the spirit realm, with the skills, the grit, and the determination to protect the people of the Belfry. With spirit companions fighting by your side, you are destined for battle. Mm.
Nice.
Towerborn is designed with player choice in mind. Create your ace with options to customize your looks, gear, and weapons. Switch up your gameplay experience at any time by changing your danger level as you venture into the wilds. Find and wield powerful weapons with unique special moves from one of the 4 styles: war clubs, gauntlets, dual daggers, and swords and shields. There you go. Mix and match to make your ace your own. I didn't know that. That's new. That's new information for me.
Yeah, and me.
I
I like a
race.
gauntlet.
I'd be interested to see if that has any kind of effect.
What does?
Just, do you say race?
I said, what did I say? War club, gauntlets, dual daggers, and swords and shields.
In regards to like your character, did you say that? And I don't know, just I'm thinking of the Baldur's Gate. Kind of how much of an indication that has. I'm wondering if that has a similar thing, but I don't know. Maybe I heard you wrong.
That's I like that. You're like, is it kind of like Baldur's Gate 3?
Call of Duty is like Baldur's Gate, isn't it? But
is there like
but not.
Can you multi-class? With an evolving world map and seasonal content, your race will never run out of areas to defeat. You know, I think this is cool. This is giving me kind of Castle Crashers, but Diablo kind of vibes in terms of the support. You know, we'll see. I think this sounds really cool. It's clearly ticking a lot of boxes for us. You know, you can hear we're quite positive on it, how it looks and sounds. The first question, I suppose, is when, right? When are we getting Towerborn? We should bear in mind we've got. Maybe we should have opened with this, but it's seeming pretty confirmed at this point that we're going to be getting a developer direct this month. The when is, you know, up for debate. So this will be confirmed in the next few weeks when we get to sit down and watch that. But what do you guys think? You know, we saw Towerborn last year. They confirmed 2023. Does it feel quite far along to you? You know, if you had to put your number on it, what are you doing? You have to put your month on it. What are you saying?
When they say quarters, don't they usually refer to a little bit of last year as well? Like, so for example, quarter 1, isn't that from like November or something like that?
If we're talking about fiscal years, but yeah, we're not in this case.
We talk about just quarter of the year, so
Yeah,
January to
2,
April
summertime?
being Q1. Yeah,
Quarter 2.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of Q1 vibes from this. I'm getting kind of like late March, maybe something like that. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting for this one. I don't know why, but and I don't know how much there is in January for Xbox in terms of first party. I don't think, because Stalker didn't get a release date, did it?
I don't think so.
It just got delayed. I don't think Avowed, Hellblade, a Flight Sim Arrow. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is their Q1 game for 2024. That's where I'm putting it.
I think that's perfectly possible. The only thing I'm thinking about is like if they do a developer direct, are they announcing anything? You know, well, like are they shadow dropping anything, or are they announcing something? You know, now.
You think this could
soon,
be shadow
like
dropped
in the next few weeks? Well, I mean, so like, could this be shadow dropped, or could this be quarter 2 with something else that like a surprise that we don't know about in the same vein as Hi-Fi Rush coming out like in quarter 1? I'm really torn. Yeah, we seem to all be in agreement of it, like that it's half one. But if you had to put a gun to my head, I'd probably say end of quarter 1, maybe March.
Okay.
How do we think a game like this has been received?
I think quite well. I can see a game like this being reviewed quite well. I definitely think we're in more of the. I mean, we say that, but then we always say that third person action adventure games always review well, but I do think critically games that try and push the boat out, go with different genres and more artistic as well, I think they get reviewed a little bit more fondly these days. So I think if it's just crispy, it plays well, it feels weighty, it's just a good time. It's not like overly long and drags. I could see this game getting, I think, highest with mid 80s. I don't think this game is getting into the 87s, 88s, 89s or anything like that. I think you're looking at 84 to 85 peak in my opinion. But
although I'm really interested, like I don't know, I'm about to look, but like, what do you think Castle Crashers got like back in the day? Quick guess, try a number out. 88. Tim, what do you think?
I think it got like, it was definitely in the 80s, so like 82, 83.
I'd have said like 84, 85. Let's have a quick look.
Oh, you don't actually know? I thought you. I know.
No, I'll to find out. So original Xbox Live Arcade game, 82. And that's bollocks. Like that is bollocks.
I was bang on.
82, that is low.
Yeah.
Like that's really low to me.
For a game that I've never heard anyone talk badly about.
Yeah, right. Like it to me, Castle Crashers is like a 95.
I'd say with the memories tied behind it, yeah, I definitely put the game in the 90s, 100%. Like the replayability in that game as well was like crazy. Like all the characters felt really different, and the builds and the animal orbs. There was actually quite a lot of like math behind it to like maximize your builds with the weapon and your animal orb and your class, and it was surprisingly in depth for actually what it was.
Yeah, and you had like your RPG things, didn't you? You got skill points, leveled up. There were like loads of secrets to get like secret weapons.
It's good shit.
What a banger. Iconic. There's that little red, green, orange, and blue guy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely iconic. Okay, cool. So we're thinking kind of like, Caden, you're still going like high 80s, are you?
With Towerborn?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'll probably drop it to probably 80. But I don't know. I don't agree on reviewing something that's not even out, in my opinion. But
it's just a prediction, like the vibe you're getting from it. Like, do you
I'd
see
have
this
to see
game?
more, personally, I'd have to see a little bit more.
Okay, it's got be a real ball ache in this section.
Look, there has to be. Look, that's a third man. I have to be.
You have to be the guy that just
the only gamer in
fucking, it. Wow, savage.
Okay, Flight Sim 2024. So this was that. Do you remember the trailer for it? It's quite funny because like, it just like kept going. It was like, you can deliver stuff. You can do like MVP. You can like deliver the president. you can go in an air balloon. You can do crop dusting, and it just kind of kept going. So they've kind of like gamified it a little bit more. And from what I remember, they had like a giant update for the original Flight Sim that released in 2020, and it just kind of kept getting bigger and bigger. And they're like, actually, I think we can kind of just make this a standalone game, which is now what they're doing. This feels quarter 2 to me. Maybe it gets pushed into quarter 3, but it feels quarter 2 to me, and I feel like this is an easy lock to low 90s.
Yeah, I mean, people love it. It's really hard to predict when like a game like this is going to release because, like you said, technically it's kind of like an expansion / add-on. Obviously to an existing game engine, all that sort of stuff. So realistically, you could very well see this in Q1, but you could also see it Q2, like you said. Like I don't know. It's kind of hard to pin a date on this one. But
definitely,
I'm not very excited about it, but it is cool. They are expanding it quite a lot, and you could do so much shit with it now. And yeah, Flight Sim's just a banger. People just love it, and it reviews great. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking at probably low 90s for this.
And actually, it's pretty interesting because like the simulator genre as a whole is generally getting quite popular now.
It's popping off.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously it's not mainstream, but it's like it's not niche. Like, you know, I feel like it has the same sort of appeal as like Sims does. You know, it's kind of in that vein where there's like a dedicated boob. You know, if you go on YouTube and type in like truck simulator, there are people who just sit there having a merry time. Just
they get a huge viewer base as well, watching people just drive trucks and stuff, which is weird, but
that seemed weird to me. But yeah,
I always get that hilarious. I always get that hilarious guy on TikTok who like drives really fast and crashes, and he just like full on like commits to the crash in his chair. It's hilarious. Yeah, it's really good as well. He's really good at it. But that's kind of my only experience with it.
Like, do you think there is like truckers that generally like drive for 18-hour stints and they're like, God, I can't wait to go home, clock off, sit down, truck simulator,
drive a different truck.
So funny.
Yeah. Well, Power Wash Simulator just came to Games Pass, didn't it? I think quite recently. Apparently, that's really satisfying.
It is. Yeah, I played it.
Yeah.
I did play Flight Sim as well for a little bit. I didn't play it for long. I just flew it into your house, your old house, Tim. I properly just kamikazed you.
I know. That was it. I remember you saying. I played Flight Sim. You just drove, flew into your house. Just closed it down. I haven't played it since.
Good time. I screamed. I was like, yeah.
Oh, God. You just freeze framed on your screen there as well.
Yeah, I saw that. That was hilarious. Oh God. But yeah,
gorgeous though. Like crazy tech. That game is crazy tech.
But yeah, you could put me.
Cool. Yeah, any other calls?
No, I think that's about it for Flight Sim. But yeah, put me down for I'll go Q2 and low 90s as well. I feel like that's just a pretty good estimate for something like this. Maybe even higher, to be fair. It's a crazy amount of fucking shit they're adding. Like, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I think. Let me just check. I think the first one was maybe 92.
That's what I was gonna say for my score.
Go on.
I was gonna say 92 for this. My score for it.
Yeah, first was 92. Okay. All right. Are you feeling quarter 2 as well, Caden?
I'm feeling quite late in the year. I'm feeling quarter 4.
Oh, really? Tasty.
Quite soon, yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Let's get on some of the bigger boys. We got Hellblade. Hellblade's probably going to be the premiere showing at the Developer Direct. Bit surprising when we saw it at the Game Awards and no date was shown, even though we got a fucking good trailer. Delicious. The music from Hai Lung and some combat as well, looking really sort of visceral, with some bonkers visuals, really. So I think we can probably have a bit more of an open conversation about Hellblade because we know a bit more about this. What are kind of our expectations for the game? Like, I know we covered this a little bit before, but we could be seeing it and getting a final date in the next few weeks. So I kind of wanted us to just kind of make our final few call our shots. Like, is anybody expecting a disappointment here? Is anybody expecting like controversy, mixed opinion, anything like that?
I don't think
Xbox always has
I don't think it can, but not with this. It's just a really unique kind of game. Like, I just don't think you can. I don't know. I don't see him dropping the ball in this game in the slightest, personally. I don't see it being like a super high reviewing game, but I just don't see it being considered bad in any way, personally. The only thing that might be bad is maybe performance, but because it looks so pretty, that's kind of the only thing I can think of the score being brought down. But we'll have to see on that front.
Have they confirmed whether or not this runs at 30 or 60, or will you have the option for both to lower the res?
I would be very, maybe both, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was just a 4K 30.
Yeah,
because it's a bit more artsy, so they're going to be selective with their frame rates and how they want you to experience the game. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. maybe wrong. Maybe the game's been cooking a while, so maybe they do go the extra mile with performance settings. We'll see. And I also don't know if they ever added that option with the Series X upgrade of Hellblade 1. I don't know. Maybe chat can help me out. Hi, Timmer, by the way. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
Long time no see. So, just to throw a little wrench into this, one of the other stories, we might as well sort of talk about it now. So there's an insider, right, called Nate the Hate. Every now and then he just like sort of drops some news. It's a really good track record, no stuff. No track record is perfect with this sort of things, but he said recently that Microsoft's internal mock reviews of Hellblade 2 are in the low 90s.
Okay. Sounds about right.
So, and the the funny thing here is, of course, that the last time we heard any Microsoft employee speak about their mock reviews was Phil Spencer after Redfall released. And he was like, yeah, internally we were expecting like 10 points higher. Or what he said, I think he said double digits. I think he said double digits of what it was. And at the time it was at like a 62. So, we can kind of infer that it was maybe meant to be low 70s, what they thought. So, we'll see, whatever. Obviously it's always going to be a bit different when you throw things out in the wild and, what narrative emerges or doesn't emerge maybe. But nonetheless, I think, it's pretty reassuring. I feel like for this reason, they're really going to place it as their premiere release, like their critical darling. And like, let's also remember that back in the day when Hellblade 1 released, it won 4 Game of the Year awards. Like it's no, it's a big boy. It's a big boy. So is this all feeling right? We're all feeling like low 90s, fingers crossed. No controversy. Nice clean win. Nice clean fight.
I'm going to say high 80s, just to be controversial.
Yeah, right. 80s. And this is what's bumming me out, because maybe I just say high 80s just because then it's a win.
I think that there's a lot riding on this. There's a lot of eyes on this, to the point where everyone sees this as Xbox's God of War competitor, that sort of stuff. So I feel like it's going to be critiqued quite harshly. I feel like they might. I have no idea because I've never played Hellblade 1, but from what I've heard you guys talk about it, combat is relatively simplistic. It does the job. And if this doesn't evolve it enough, I feel like it might drop some points for that. I feel like performance may be an issue, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm going to go high 80s. But yeah. That's my vibe.
Just looked at the Metacritic for Hellblade 1, and what do you think?
Metacritic is probably like 82.
Wow, okay. Not deck.
82. I'm gonna go 82.
I think the Open Critic's about 84.
It's 81, so which is a little bit lower than I thought. But obviously still considered very good. But no, I'm probably gonna go high 80s as well. 87, 88.
That's so funny. Because of course, we need to, as part of this, equation, we need to put in the Xbox tax. Obviously.
Oh yeah. 60. It's gonna be a 6 out of 10.
It's a slip of the tongue. I don't know, man. I am like a bit hesitant to say it's going to crack the 90s. Even though, it definitely could, but something's holding me back. I reckon it probably holds out at sort of an 88, 89. Not because I don't think that, like, I know I'm going to enjoy the game a lot, like personally, but I don't know if I think like critically, there's probably going to be enough that holds it back. That holds it back for some reviewers. I don't know what that is, but even like we speak about Alan Wake 2. Which in my mind is quite similar to Hellblade 2. It's like quite artsy, but it's very pretty. Strong narrative, plays a lot with the player expectations. That on OpenCritic, that didn't crack 90. That was 89, and I think on Metacritic, as usual, it's a bit lower, so around 87, 88. I reckon we're probably going to see something similar with Hellblade.
Which is still obviously fantastic, because fucking Alan Wake cleaned up awards for the year, and obviously it's still not cracking the 90s. That doesn't necessarily It doesn't really mean much these days. I mean, the difference between like an 87 and a 90 to me really is just like there's really not much difference at all. I feel like it just comes down to personal preference or what the reviewer thought specifically. Like if you're looking at high 80s to 90, there really isn't much difference at all. Yeah.
Okay. So we're all expecting high quality. We don't know, like, being pedantic. You're like, oh, is it going to hit 90? Maybe not, but we're expecting a very high quality game from the guys over at Ninja Theory, the guys and girls over there. What about the timing, guys? Do we think this is Q2, Q3? The one thing I would throw out to you is that for the marketing, from like Starfield onwards, Hellblade 2 was a part of that. They did like that big trailer push back in maybe September time. There was like Forza, Starfield, Hellblade 2. There's something else on there as well that I can't remember. And that makes me think it's coming out before the showcase this year, if they've included it with like this season's, marketing.
Maybe I'm wrong. Some of them.
Yeah, so that would be, they usually do the showcase in early June. So my guess would be May, which is still Q2.
You think? I wouldn't have said before Q3.
But it'd just be weird to me then, because are they really going to fucking show that game again? Like, bearing in mind they're going to show it at the developer direct, probably. I guess I don't know that.
But are they,
how many times do we need to see this game? Like, we're getting Deathlooped here.
I think likely you are right. We're seeing a big drop before the showcase in June, but it's just whether or not you see that being, because I think at these showcases they're going to show multiple games. They're going to show Hellblade and they're going to show like Avowed, for example. So I think it comes down to also just what game you think is releasing over the two of them. Do you think they're going to get Avowed in for Q2 and then Hellblade would be the Q3, Q4, or do you think it'll be the other way around?
Hellblade's going to be before Avowed.
Hellblade should be before Avowed, considering how much we've seen compared to it already, just in the public. You'd like to think so, yeah. So actually, yeah, when you kind of do the math like that, yeah, guy math, yeah, could be around June, yeah, could be like Q2, right at the end of Q2.
As long as I've got enough time to play the first game before it comes out, I'm not fussed.
Yeah,
I will never have that time.
I'm playing through the first game.
Nah, never, mate.
Yeah,
not
as
really
you've
my
made
thing.
very clear.
It's just dog shit. No, I'm kidding. No, I do need to go around to play it. Starfield, though,
So are we all going Q2?
I'll go Q3. I'll go Q3 just to be different.
Okay. And do you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go long shot. I'm gonna say it. It's gonna crack 90s.
Okay. This is why. Okay. Actually, that's a good point. Just on this, what are we doing our fantasy critic again this year? Is that being set up again for Jan? We normally start that in Jan. Yeah, that'd be quite fun.
Yeah, I'll set up at some point.
We're normally dog shit that deck.
Until, as long as it's up before Tekken 8, I want to take in that easy score.
As long as one of us beats Jake, yeah, like I can't.
You think Tekken 8's going to be easy score? Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. Fighting games are just easy score these days.
Not true. Not true.
Right. All right. Got that all out your system? Yeah.
Yeah. Me? Yeah, I think I'm good to go.
Just the two of you. Yeah. Okay. Right. Good. Okay. Avowed, I think, is a really interesting one for a number of reasons. For me personally, I think Avowed is Q4 with a possible delay, to be honest with you.
I'm saying that's not true. As well.
I was thinking end of the year. I mean, was it not meant to be the end of this year and then it was delayed?
No, I never got a date. They've always just said 24. Okay, so we definitely all think end of the year. Yeah. Like, I think, like, really tentatively, I'm thinking delay, but I'm not going to commit to it. To half 1/25. So my thought was like, I don't know if we see Avowed at the developer direct this month. I think maybe they do what they did with Starfield last year, and they hold it for the showcase, like a bolt on for the
Yes.
showcase.
Yeah.
And they do like an Avowed Direct as their like holiday game, as their like September, October sort of release, maybe even November or December. But bearing in mind they've got COD now, so I don't know if they're going to space their games out differently. I don't know. Like I don't know how they're going to sort of manage that. They probably won't have any sort of. They won't be doing anything with any of it. They'll just be treating it like it's just happening as a third party thing. The COD release, that is. And so the other thing, obviously, about Avowed is that we know that this game started as a co-op game, and from around the Obsidian acquisition, they said, "Okay, we don't need to do that anymore," because part of the reason they were doing that is because it was appealing to publishers. They're like, "Oh, it's got co-op, so you should really fund this project because it's it's fun and quirky." But they've since dropped that. It was never announced as a co-op game. When it was first revealed, it was never revealed as a co-op game. It was revealed as a single player game within Eora, which is the world of Pillars of Eternity. So, it begs the question, like, is the game going to do enough? Like, I think Avowed comes in at like mid 80s,
I
low to
agree.
mid 80s. I really don't want that to be true because I love Obsidian and I think this has a real chance to be their like, MO. But something feels a bit this game has been in development since like 2017. Like it's been in development for 7 years. And like the conversation around it is that it's kind of like, well, if the Outer Worlds was their take on Fallout, Avowed is their take on the Elder Scrolls. But it's like a bit more condensed because Obsidian is a much smaller team. But they're not small, but they are a smaller team, obviously, than Bethesda. So, to you guys, like, what do you think? Like, general thoughts on Avowed? Is there any worries or like big hopes? What do you think, Tim? If I go to you first.
This Avowed is such a weird one for me because I've never been so sort of hyped and excited for like an RPG like this, like for a while, to be fair. Like this really captures everything I quite like in an RPG without it being like, I love like high fantasy, magic, colorful, that sort of stuff, but I don't like it to be like super crazy, gritty and serious as well. And I feel like this is ticking all those boxes for it just to be just a really cool, colorful world that you could get lost in. But there's just something just eating away at the back of me that thinks this just might be, like you said, just that like 80s kind of game, 81, 82 or something like that, which is still fantastic. Like we make it sound like an 80s game is underperforming. Obviously, that's still a fantastic score, but I just don't think it's going to be an absolute smash hit, high 80s, 90s, get this on your system sort of thing. But I'm hoping it at least just sticks to what it's going for and just make it just fun. Like fun to play, I think is obviously extremely important. I don't think they need to go nuts with everything else and create this super engaging story or anything like that. It would obviously be great if you had that, but yeah, for me, I'm kind of feeling the same. I'm feeling end of the year, and I'm feeling low to mid 80s. Like I can't see this game getting too much higher than mid 80s, even if they kind of nail it. So yeah, but I mean, this is still like on my like top 5, like, or even top 3. Like I'm very excited for this game. Yeah, I think it's going to be seriously cool and fun and good.
And I will say, it's like I desperately hope that I'm wrong. I desperately hope that we're both wrong, and that like it comes together really well because it's been in development for so long, and like they've got the established universe, and like even in the gameplay we saw, like it looked good, man. Like it did look good. There were some things that needed polishing up, like some of the animation work was like a little bit off. One of the big controversies that came out about it was like the tone shift from the original reveal back in 2020 was like it felt a lot darker. It felt a lot darker, whereas this was a bit more colorful. But then there's been a bit of like back and forth about a dev posted on an RPG forum saying like, yeah, we contracted the trailer work out, and they like have contrasted it a bit, and it's like it's not bright and colorful game. It's definitely maybe not. It is colorful, but it's like there's just a variety of environments, and the trailer had the
Yeah.
contrast way up, so it made it look kind of saturated. So we don't really know, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty around that. Frame by frame, if you look at the trailer, it looks quite pretty. Like, a lot of the lighting work done, the fidelity is there. It's just like, is it going to capture the wider audience attention? Like, who knows? It's these days it seems to be hyper realism or nothing, as I've complained about repeatedly. But Obsidian are really good at what they do. So yeah, I hope we're wrong, Tim. What do you think, Aiden?
Yeah, so I was gonna mention that change in direction, or like at least the way it looked.
Tone, yeah.
I always remember the very, very first trailer of like Dark Underground, like where he holds the fireball out and I was like, oh, sick, cool, like Obsidian, dark, dingy RPG. For me, personally, I was a lot more excited for that than what we have now. So, but I do like Obsidian games; they're great fun. But I don't know, like there's something just in the back of my neck where I'm just kind of thinking about it not being particularly exciting for me personally. But yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm excited for it. Just I think that latest trailer when it came out, I was like, oh, okay, oh, and yeah, that's what it was. So I am thinking, just off the top of my head, kind of like high, like 79.
Yo,
Yeah,
even
I'm doing
80.
it. Yeah.
All right. It's big. It's an L.
I like it.
And I do think it's going to be late in the year as well.
Yeah.
Like probably even December.
It's it's just such a weird one because Obsidian weirdly just always give off this kind of underdog vibe, don't they? Like, even though they're a studio that have proved themselves many times, their games still give off this like underdog vibe, and they kind of fly under the radar. And it comes out, and everyone's like, "Hold up a minute, this is actually kind of fire." Like, it very well could be like that. Like, just fly under everyone's radar and just end up being a banger, which obviously is fine in the end, because as long as it's kind of recognized as a banger eventually, it reviews well, whatever, it being in Games Pass, I think, kind of helps with that like underdog feel that they tend to get. Like, shit's just going to get loads of downloads when people eventually figure out what it is, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a weird one, but I have faith.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, it's just there's just a bit of uncertainty around it, because like, if I'm watching the gameplay that you're on screen, like if you're on YouTube with us now, you can see it there. Sorry, audio listeners, but like there are like several shots that are like that you can tell, that's reminiscent of the original 2020 reveal. This like kind of dark, like grittiness kind of thing. But then there are some shots where it feels like this feels off. Like I said, to me, the biggest thing is like some of the animation feels a bit stilted. And Obsidian has always been a bit like that until Grounded. Like, Grounded, the animation is actually really good for the most part. And obviously this is bigger budget, but it wouldn't surprise me if they took some learnings from Grounded into this, So we'll see. And it's also like, I guess for me, like, I want to know what the hook is here. Like, I don't want this to just be like Obsidian medieval and the Outer Worlds. Yeah, like what's the pull? Like, for the Outer Worlds, they did quite a few cool things. I don't know if you remember. Like, obviously the tone of the world was quite fun. Like, it was a funny game. The writing was really funny. The RPG stuff was really solid, like it always is with the Obsidian games. Even the shooting was quite good, actually. And it was like the slow down time skill, like as opposed to VATS, but it was like slow mo, which was great. But then they also had like, if you took damage or something happened to you enough times, you'd get a pop up offering you a trade off. Do you remember that? Like, you get a
was
floor,
phobias and stuff like that. Yeah, you develop phobias.
That's right. Which I thought was really neat. Like, that was like a cool thing that like you could exchange. It would give you a trait point, but then you'd also take a like an ailment, like a long term loss, which was a cool twist. So I'm like wondering here, like, what's the twist? And again, it comes back to like, despite seeing a good chunk of 2.5 minutes of gameplay, we actually don't really know that much about it. And I have to think like Eora, despite not having played Pillars of Eternity, I've read a little bit about it. Is like the world they've made there is really cool. Like, there's a lot of reincarnation. I think I spoke about it on the podcast before. Like, the idea is that souls are constantly recycled. So like you die and your soul goes into someone else. So there's like a lot of interesting RPG things that you could do with that, I feel. And
Mm.
your magic strength is based on the quality of your soul. And there are like gods and things as well that play a role in that, and factions. So, and I kind of need to see more, but like I'm kind of with Caden. Like I can understand why people feel that the trailer we saw at the showcase gave off high 70s energy, but give it another 18 months, show us like the actual
yeah, of
selling
course.
points of the game. I think maybe
Mm.
we could be pushing into the 80s. And like I said, I really want this to be Obsidian's like breakout hit. Like I would love that. Like the Outer Worlds was kind of a big hit. Obviously not massive, but like this could be the big hit for them. So we'll see. But ultimately, I would settle on low to
Didn't Outer Worlds
mid-80s.
come out near to 76? It was a very close release
Oh,
window.
I think you're right. Actually, I think it was 2019.
Because I think a lot of, I mean, the way I remember it, with a lot of people like I hated 76, and then that came along, and I think that's where a lot of people went to experience that game. Whereas this time around, it doesn't have that. I guess maybe Skyrim is trying to fill Skyrim hole, because we're not seeing that for a long time. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure. But I mean, I think the same thing will happen, but with Starfield, to be honest. I think there will be like a narrative of like Tim said, Obsidian games tend to have this like under low expectations, but over deliver.
I agree with
and
that.
then, and I think a lot of the user base, like the online sentiment, will be like, "Oh, look at Obsidian outshining Bethesda again." I think that will like kind of be the narrative that comes, and as a result, it might review quite well. So
Mm.
we'll see. But you're right, Caden. Outer Worlds and Fallout 76 came out quite near each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Avowed? Like, what could go wrong, or have we said all we need to say about it, or what could go right?
I feel like we've said a good amount on it. I think I agree with both your points about them not fully deciding on a tone, a fully set tone that they want on the game, and it could bounce between, being serious and not being serious, and being dark and dingy and being too colorful and stuff like that. And I feel like if you can't find a balance that works for those, it can be quite jarring for the player. The game just doesn't really know what tone it wants to be. I feel like that could be a bit of an issue for it. I also feel like people just being like, the combat really is kind of Skyrim-esque, and Skyrim came out fucking yonks ago.
No. Nope.
You don't think so? No. You
No.
don't think it's gonna have that like spell in one hand, weapon in the other. It's very reminiscent of what you could do in Skyrim. Obviously, it will be toned up in its own way. I think the magic's going to be a lot more impressive, but I can't help but people make that comparison to a game that came out that long ago as well.
Yeah, so I'm stepping. No, I'm smelling what you're stepping in. I get it. I guess my thing is like, firstly, for those who have played Grounded, the combat in the game is pretty good, and I imagine this is going to be that but leveled up. Like it feels quite crunchy. Obviously, it's on a small scale. Small.
What do you think the lore is here as well? Do you think the whole world of Avowed is just a smaller world inside of Grounded? A microscopic.
That'd be amazing. The Grounded verse. That's so good.
It's just a world within Grounded.
It's like the quantum realm.
Yeah. That'd be so good.
Yeah,
the credits.
The credits. It's like specks of dust.
Yeah. And like when you fucking finish the game, it's just like the credits, it just like zooms out and it's like fucking Grounded. Yeah. That'd be so good. Just in the back garden still.
Yeah. So I think that they've taken a lot of learning from like how the combat feels in Grounded and moved that over to Avowed, but then also they've added all of these RPG systems on top. Like you can see in the trailer, like enemies are like really reacting when you swing, they're like catching fire. There's obviously the big thing for the game. We don't know much about it other than superficially that there's fancy animations and hand movements going on. But like, I wonder how that plays into the actual gameplay. So I think like you combine those two things, and I reckon you've probably got like nothing like revolutionary, but I think you've got really solid melee first-person combat. But also, we're forgetting guns are in this game as well. Avowed has guns.
It does. Yeah.
Magic guns at that.
They're like old school guns, though, aren't they? You could tell. But
like gunpowder.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool if you had like your spells. You actually had to do like specific button inputs or something to actually cast the spell. That'd be quite cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a vibe. But yeah, Joaquin tends to agree with me. People are going to immediately say that the gameplay is dated. Just you watch. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Joaquin is saying you're going to see the Starfield narrative bleed over and hurt Avowed. Thoughts?
Yeah, probably. That's my thought.
It's detailed. It's very cerebral.
I don't know. I mean, Starfield got flagged for having its dated combat and dated quest design and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they're just gonna, maybe that'll bleed into Avowed and just be like, oh, two RPGs on the bounce now from Xbox feel very outdated. Are they just behind the times? Hashtag God of War.
Wow.
Yeah. Hashtag God of War. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I obviously get it. Like, there's Obsidian do the whole thing. You click in on a character, and then the camera zooms in on them, and you talk to them. So, like, maybe I get it. I think there were quite a few reasons for people to be angry at Bethesda, anyway, in a way that they won't be angry at Obsidian. And I think that some of that maybe came into Starfield that won't come into Obsidian. So, we'll see. But I mean, I suppose, I know, I get it. All right, are we done here? Are we done with Avowed then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're done.
Sick. All right, so the bottom three, the final three locks we've got for the year, I say we kind of just meld into one because they're games that we know very little about, aren't really in our wheelhouse. And those three games are Ara History Untold, which is a PC first game, strategy game. We saw a trailer for it last year and I think maybe the year before as well. It's been in insider testing for a while now. Call of Duty 2024 hasn't even been revealed yet. And Stalker
2.
And Stalker 2. Anybody got a shot to call for one of these three? We don't have to do one for all of them. I just wanted to get a temperature check.
I don't have high hope for Stalker 2.
I don't either.
Yeah,
No.
I don't have high hopes. Yeah.
But other circumstances, but I don't have high hopes. And I'm pretty sure they've had early testing of it, and I think people were saying the same thing there. Call of Duty. I mean, I've not touched the Call of Duty since probably MW2.
The remake.
Yeah, I think 3 years ago.
Yeah, was it 3 years ago? Was it?
I'm trying to work out. MW3 was just this. Then it was Cold War.
Yeah, I think so.
And then it was MW2. So.
What about Vanguard? When did Vanguard come out?
Oh shit! Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like you. I just don't keep.
I just don't keep up anymore.
I just don't keep up. But
No.
I have a feeling Call of Duty. I think this one might be on the rise. I feel like, but then I don't think that has anything. No. But this one coming out in 2024. I mean, you can only go up from MW3, right? I think it could be a slightly better one this year with no influence from Xbox, obviously, because I feel like they wouldn't have had any input on it at this point. So like the next COD is nothing to do with Xbox being involved, I don't think.
It's important to note that this Call of Duty is the first Call of Duty to have had a 3-year dev cycle. I think that's right. It's the first COD to have had a lengthened dev cycle ever. So the kind of the excitement level is quite a bit higher in the Call of Duty community about it. It's supposedly Gulf War, like I said. Get your iron out, get your wood out, get your putters out. Yeah, thank you. So I mean that's the only info I've got for that.
Yeah.
So I mean to be fair, my expectations are quite high for the Call of Duty this year. I mean I don't think it will bother me, but it can't hurt the brand that if
It's
a COD comes out
impossible.
this year and it's really good. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go like. Yeah, I'm gonna say low 70s for Stalker 2 as well. I also don't. I feel like that game is extremely hard to predict when that's going to come out as well. I feel like Xbox aren't really giving
November.
it. How was that? Sorry.
November. That's when all CODs come out.
No, I was talking about Stalker 2. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I feel like it's really hard to predict because I feel like Xbox aren't just going to give it the spotlight they were thinking about giving it at one point. I feel like they might just shove this one out the door when they feel like it's ready and just be like, we're not going to bring that much attention to it. If you can release it by Q2, we're not going to make a big deal out of it. Let's just shoot for May. Yeah.
I'm thinking the absolute opposite of that. I think they're going to throw it out because it's not going to be ready. Do you know what I mean?
But
like, there's only so long we can support
Exactly.
this sort of
That's
thing.
what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. It's on
I don't
live
think
support.
they're going to keep hold of it for much longer.
Yeah, I think it will be Q2. I'm going to go Q2 for Stalker. I don't think it'll be Q1, but and yeah, going low 70s. COD, yeah, they obviously released November, as Caden said, around that sort of time. I think 80, like just like a bang on 80, high 70s, 80 maybe for that COD.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, COD, sorry.
And Ara, am I mistaken to think that Ara actually wasn't looking too hot at one point? Like some people played it or got their hands on it and they actually weren't that impressed by it or something. Like it was kind of mid.
I saw some insider gameplay and I thought it was like it looked fine. I don't know. I don't have much experience with these sorts of games other than Age of Empires on console. But like it looked like it needed a bit more time, which it is obviously going to have had. But yeah, I mean it's with I think it's Paradox who've made it. Let me check. I'm because I'm pretty sure the dev are like quite well seasoned with like strategy games.
Yeah.
I know it's Oxide Games, yeah. So they've made a lot of like strategy games. Let's just double check. So it definitely could be. It could be like decent, but like I don't know enough about it to make the call, to be honest.
No. Yeah. I mean, if I had to go up a gut feeling, I'd say mid to high 70s or something. Like, I don't think it's gonna. But yeah, like you said, I don't think either of us. Well, one, it's PC, and I don't think any of us know that much about it to make that call. But
Yeah.
there's just a certain vibe I get from it, and I don't think it's gonna smash it out of the water. But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to agree with that. Caden, did you have a call for Stalker 2?
Well, then review score.
Time and score, yeah. What quarter?
Quarter 3. I don't think it's. I'm thinking 70.
70. Yeah, we've all said something similar. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, so we've kind of got our locks down for the year. Obviously, from what we know right now, the first 4 we did, if you're tuning in late or you've missed it, were Towerborn, Flight Sim 2024, Hellblade 2, and Avowed. Those are like the 4 sort of premier releases for this year. Our History Untold is a PC release. Stalker 2 is a timed exclusive, probably, but Game Pass and the Call of Duty 2024 owing to the recent acquisition of ABK. So now we're going to more sort of speculative territory. We spoke about this in the months prior, but I wanted to know kind of what your temperature was on like a possible because the pipeline is either a Fallout or an Oblivion remaster / remake, and there's no like the only reason we've got that is from I think an insider mentioned it, and then that massive leak that happened. But not all of that has turned out to be true either, because Dishonored 3 was on it, and then it was Blade. So and they're fairly old, like so. I just kind of wanted to get a temperature on that from you guys because we've got the Fallout show happening this year, so it would stand to reason that they would line up a Fallout like remaster, and they've also got Fallout 4 remaster coming soon as well. So maybe that's going to fill that plug for them. Maybe that's just what they're going to use for that marketing beat. In which case, like, how do we feel a Fallout or Oblivion remake. Like we're not necessarily going for a window or a score here. I just want to get a sense on like the likelihood of this happening. Like, or even if it's needed, because like I do wonder, like, would God Howard really want this, or is this like the acquisition's gone through now for Bethesda? Things are set in motion, and Phil Spencer's like, look, we're leaving money on the table by not remastering these bad boys. Like, I do wonder if that's the case. So, like, I just kind of wanted to get a temperature check on these things, remastering / remaking old Bethesda games. What do we think? If I start with you, Caden, what do you think?
I've heard about the Fallout remaster and the Oblivion remaster for quite a while now. Like probably the whole year at least. I've been hearing rumors of them both. I would prefer a Fallout remaster because Fallout 3 I loved Fallout 3. I think it's Fallout 3 that people were thinking they were going to remaster, right?
I think
that was
4 is getting a remaster already. That's confirmed. I think in terms of if they do a remaster for 3 or a remake for 3, they won't be remaking 4 because they're doing a remaster of it, I think.
Yeah. So I think that's of the two would be a bigger interest to me. I think Oblivion would be a bit weird considering Avowed. I think, I don't know, wouldn't want really those two being too close to each other.
Fair point.
That would be a very easy comparison, and I would argue they're the same audience, aren't they? Playing those games, so you don't want those two close to each other. And like we all kind of agreed, it's towards the end of the year, and I don't see an Oblivion remake or whatever being the first 6 months of this year. So I think that was a bit. I don't think we're seeing that till next year, and then that will probably fill the gap until Elder Scrolls 6 in 26 or so, maybe.
Yeah, do you know what? I think that's a good shout. I hadn't really thought about that. You especially wouldn't want the two coming out at a similar time frame, but who knows? I don't know. Like, publishers have been known to just stop giving a fuck about this sort of stuff recently. Like, I remember when Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 kind of came out on top of each other. And I would argue that's it's kind of going for the same audience. Like, I do wonder, or like, none of it's been announced. Like, I wonder if they say, "Hey, Avowed's delayed to 25, but here is Oblivion remaster to tide you over." I do.
Yeah, mate. I could see that being a bit more likely.
That's
but,
yeah.
I just think Oblivion, if it's happening, isn't until next year. Like sometime next year.
I think I'm on a similar vein to what Deck just said at the end there. I think that I don't think we're getting any remakes. I think they're all going to be remasters. I think we're going to get a Fallout 3 remaster probably to go along with Wacky also corrected me. The Fallout 4 isn't a remaster, it's like an update to the game. So they're basically just like scaling it up and optimizing it and sorting it all out. I don't think it's an official release remaster. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just chuck Fallout 3 on top and just be like, we've remastered Fallout 3 and 4, so go nuts, guys. You can go from one to the other. You got both of them looking as good as they ever have. Best time to play Fallout. I can see that happening, and I can also see an Oblivion remaster happening as well. And I don't think that'll be an issue, especially if it's a remaster with conflicting with something like Avowed or anything like that. Sure, if it was a full-scale remake or something like that, then yeah, obviously I feel like Caden's right, and it's just they're stepping on each other's toes a little bit. But I think if it's just a remaster, which I think it will be, I don't think there's too much of an issue there. And they can probably release them months apart and it will still be fine. It's not like they have to leave a huge gap between Avowed and an Oblivion remaster, that's my vibes. Those are my takes.
But I am like, why are you bothering to do just a remaster of Oblivion? What's the point of that? I don't know. I just don't see the point unless they're doing something like a bit more.
Well, they might update systems and change controls and stuff like that. It might not just be scale up, but I don't know how much effort and budget go into these remaster projects. You probably find that it's actually not a crazy amount, and I think people would eat up an Oblivion remaster just to go back and hit that nostalgia. Like I think, you know, cost effectiveness is probably worth it. I don't see an issue with it.
Because like the thing is, like Xbox's backwards compat tech is quite good as it is, and like I just do wonder, like you can already go back and play Oblivion at 4K, like upres, you know. So it's like, what exactly are you doing here? Like that. So it makes me think, like in a positive way, like maybe there must be, because the original leak was that it was going to be in an Unreal, like an Unreal Engine kind of remaster type thing. You know, the terminology is really vague when we're talking about what's the difference between a remaster and a remake. You know, ultimately it just depends what systems are they touching up. You know, and if there is like some sort of graphical overhaul, well, that'd be great. It doesn't sound like they're building it from the ground up in the same way like a Demon Souls was in 2020, or Resident Evil 4 or Dead Space remake. Right, they're from the ground up remakes. It doesn't sound like this is going to be that, but it does sound like it will have some sort of in between touch up.
Yeah.
I just want to see a scamp, bro. I just want to see a scamp.
Me too. I want to see a high poly scamp. That's what I want. Love me a scamp.
Cool. Okay, that's interesting. So we've got two more categories left. The first one is that there's a lot of smoke around Double Fine's next title, and the second is kind of just a bit of a freestyle category. Like, what other surprises could be left in the year for Xbox gamers? So if we start with Double Fine's next project, Kiln. Tim, I just put a link in the chat. Hayden, hopefully you can see it too.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. Yeah.
If you watch it, this was 2017. This was like an internal game jam that Double Fine did a while back. And it's kind of like a physics-based like party team brawler thing where you like craft a pot. Like you actually, it spins around and you make it your own shape, and depending on what shape you make, it makes that pot different, like better for different things, like depending on what you're doing. So for example, building like a thin like pot that can hold water quite tightly, but not much of it, or like a really wide pot, but it would spill out, and if someone hit you or you were jogging around. So it looks quite goofy. It's seemingly been in development for quite a while. Supposedly, they had it quite far along back in sort of like 2017, but then they pulled people off the project to help with Psychonauts. There's a lot of smoke that this game might appear at the developer direct, and it could possibly, the big speculation, pinch yourself, could possibly do the Hi-Fi Rush thing. Surprise! It's Kiln. Is it's a fun little game. What do we think? I mean, from what you're watching, I can, what do you think of what you're watching?
Yeah, I'm currently watching a pot fight other pots.
Yeah, it's kind of mental.
I mean, this is the first time I've heard of this game, not gonna lie.
It's because it hasn't been officially announced.
Got it.
Way back when.
Yeah. This is just like an in-dev prototype thing, like they just shared on YouTube. Like this hasn't been announced.
I don't know. I don't think so. But then with it, I don't know. Would they really? Is it the sort of game? I mean, Double Fine have a good reputation now, and they obviously released. Well, they've always had a great reputation.
Now,
Sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. Correct myself for you even.
Yourself.
But like
Watch
they've released an absolute banger under the Xbox umbrella with Psychonauts 2, right? I don't think Xbox are likely to stealth drop something like this. I think they'll give it more time in the oven kiln.
Hey,
and they'll give I think they'll give Double Fine a chance to get the name out and actually announce it and stuff like that. I don't think it's a stealth drop kind of thing. I think those sort of Hi-Fi Rush things come around pretty rarely. These sort of stealth drops out of nowhere. If you start doing it too frequently, it's not really a thing anymore. Like we probably won't see one for a few more years, I would imagine, something like that. So
yeah. Well, it's pretty interesting because you know, we're at that stage where Xbox has so fucking much that it's like always kind of possible that there could be a shadow drop waiting. And like the history of Hi-Fi Rush was it was meant to be revealed originally in 2020 at E3, but of course it got cancelled because of COVID and never came back. So it just kind of kept getting put off and put off and put off until they got acquired. And you know, they were like, "Should we just drop this today?" You know, so it's a bit more of an opportunistic thing than it was like necessarily planned. I'm not sure if I'm expecting a shadow drop, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was a surprise reveal and it was like coming this year, coming in like next month, you know, because this is like a fun party game. Like it's not the sort of game. This is like a Nintendo. I'm not sure if it's like filling any sort of gap. It's kind of like this is just a fun community Xbox game. I mean, we'll see. Maybe since then, there's been like loads more added to it. I mean, it looks fairly like the actual systems look quite ready in the video that we've got up. You know, maybe there was just like adding more stuff, progression systems. You know, who knows? Maybe there is more of it. Like it almost strikes me as a bit Splatoony. You know, we'll see. And maybe in that case, that does warrant a bit more of a marketing lead up. You know, because Splatoon's got a reasonably big audience. What do you think, Caden? What do you think sitting over there watching the pots smash each other? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's not my kind of game. But
you wouldn't play this with your boys?
You would make a dick pot and smash me.
For like,
yeah.
So you're telling me this is now our new game? This is us now.
Yeah, this is my most
hyped. Finish our work.
Yeah.
When we come back from work, oh guys, I've had an exhausting day.
2v2 me.
Yeah, 2v2 me killing. Yeah, Rust.
Yeah. No, it's clearly not for me. But what do I think about stealth drops? I guess is probably a bit more of a topic.
Sure. Yep.
It was never really a thing, was it? It's not really a thing. I still don't think it is.
It's very rare, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that what you mentioned there with Hi-Fi Rush was just circumstances, and it was clearly ready, like you said, sooner than it came out, and hence why it was so polished, because it was actually ready before it came out, I think. So circumstances meant that they could just drop it and it's fine. I don't think that will be a thing here. Maybe it'll be obviously an announcement, like you said. They'll be like, hey, this thing exists. But I don't think that's a this year thing. I don't know, but I've only just learned about this title literally 5 minutes ago. So
you're welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, this feels pretty ready for me. What did he say? Joaquin, Deck, is that only one pillow on your bed?
Yeah, him and Beth are going through some troubles.
That's right. There are white pillows. You see them? No? May I introduce you to white pillows? I'm sure your pillows are brown, but mine are white.
Such a weird thing to be analysing your background as well.
Well, he called out your weed sheets, didn't he, a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, he's weird. He's just enhancing everyone's image and just really diving into it.
Yeah.
You wait, Caden, your time's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't have like this is my entire life just in a single room, so
I'm gonna triangulate you.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think this game seems to have been in development for a long time, and even if it wasn't that, like Psychonauts came out in 2021, wasn't it? And we know Double Fine generally do smaller titles, so you know, and they have multiple teams. It's kind of we're at that breaking point where there's so much stuff. I think it's always possible that there could be something shown that's not that far off, and we know that there's a couple of surprises this year. Like Matt Booty has said it himself. He said there's more coming in 2024 we haven't spoke about yet. So that is facts. That is mad factual.
Nothing but facts here.
Nothing but facts. Straight facts.
Straight facts.
Factual if true.
Such a weird pause in between that.
Yeah, I was like...
all right, freestyle time. Tim,
God.
rap, go.
it's going to be a contraband release this week. No, I think I do think we do. I think we see more of contraband. I think they might let us know it's still a thing. That's 102. I think contraband has gone so long since we last saw anything about it, and that's just a cinematic trailer. I think we are going to see this in some capacity this year. I don't think we're going to have it this year, but I think they'll lob it in somewhere, whether it's the big showcase in June or whether or not it's just, I don't know, just dotted around somewhere halfway through the year. I don't know, but I think we see more of that. Not sure we see anything from Indiana this year. Indiana Jones IP. I don't think we get anything from that. And we could get Wolfie 3.
Wolfie. Same
Wolfie
team
3.
though, bear that in mind. With Indiana Jones Machine Games.
What, the do contraband?
That do
what are you
Wolfenstein.
Doing? Oh, sorry, the do Indiana. Yeah, no, that's true. What do I thought it was id that did. No, so id. Oh, for some reason I thought id did Wolfenstein.
It did do.
It did do. No, okay. Well, I don't know then. Yeah, I think we'll just see more of contraband. Everything else, I don't know. There's so much in the pipeline, like you said, that I don't think there's any harm and in just announcing stuff. And if we know anything from Xbox, is they really like announcing things and then giving it to you 5 fucking years later. So who knows? We might hear from a lot of things like ZeniMax's next game, Blizzard's game might get a title drop. These sort of small things. I think could get dotted around this year. Yeah, but nothing substantial, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably important to just like reduce the scope a bit on what we're talking about here, because in terms of what's getting revealed at the developer direct, like I don't know if we see like a lot of those things, like if they are going to appear, might appear at the showcase. I don't know if any of them launch this year, but if I had to if I had to say what's coming out, what's a surprise this year? If there's 2 surprises this year, I would say one of them is Kiln, which is Double Fine's game, and possibly Indiana Jones. To be honest,
Right,
yeah, that was just
what's going on?
laughing at Wacky.
What's going on?
Comments. Who shortens Indiana Jones to Indiana? What the fuck? You say Indy, you caveman. It's true. I just called it Indiana. I don't know why I did that. It just made me laugh. Yeah.
Mad fashion. It's so funny because we're just sitting here having a conversation and Joaquin's just sitting there roasting us.
Yeah, it's true.
He's really like, get it together. I don't think Deck is built from the ground up.
Yeah.
Mad factual. Deck 2024. Who say Indy, you caveman. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the other thing we just speculated is South at Midnight as well as a possible secret release this year.
Release?
Yep. Because the trailer that we saw at the showcase was held back from previous years. I mean, obviously, we're still in speculative territory. It's going to be a shorter game. It's probably going to be a AA scope or AA plus, whatever the fuck you consider HiFi Rush to be. It's probably going to be that sort of size. It's a third-person action adventure, single-player game.
I remember that trailer. That was a stunning trailer. I loved it.
From Compulsion, cool. Great trailer. Really,
yeah.
Everyone liked that shit. So, guys, I'm going to ask you to make you cool. You got to pick 2 games, 2 fucking games that we don't know about. Xbox games that are going to launch this year. I've got a little list of them there. Yep, launching this year, mate.
Fucking hell, man. is this?
We
stressful.
know there's. It's not that stressful, man. Nothing's gonna happen if you're wrong.
That's what you say.
Phil Spencer's gonna personally turn
faces.
up. He's gonna put a cloth over your face.
Pet. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm making Michael then.
Go on then.
Michael's are Kiln and South of Midnight. One of the remakes and remasters is also in this as well. If you wanted to, if that was your call.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Fallout 3 remaster, and yeah, I'll go South of Midnight as well.
All right. Hit me with a gun.
Indiana.
You mean Indy?
that fucking smile after he said it. You think Indy Anna is releasing this year?
No. I'm just playing the game.
Why'd
I
you
don't think
say
any. Well, I don't know. It was an indie film not too long ago, so there you go. Done.
It was shit
That's
as
my
well. I
reasoning.
watched that the other day.
Okay, yeah.
Fuck me, was that movie bad?
The other ones I'm not even. I don't have much. I don't know. I'm saying it. None of the other ones are doing it this year. That's my.
Indian none.
There's been a ZeniMax game in the rumored to be in the pipeline for a long time. So we don't know what it is. So I don't know, for it to get a name and a release date in the same year is pretty unlikely. But
yeah, because that's going to be a big game. Like it might even be multi-platform, like big sort of. So yeah. But something like Forza Horizon 6 as well is pretty would be an interesting call because it's like 2024, but they have 3-year cycles, Forza Horizon, and Forza Horizon 5 was revealed at the showcase and then released in November.
Yeah, but they're too busy building Fable Kart, aren't they? So
Fable Kart, yeah, it's true. Killer Instinct Kart. Where's my kart game? Where's my Xbox kart game,
We do need one of those. I want to see Chief in a tiny little fucking buggy skidding around a corner. That's what I want.
Or like a green Charlotte Doom guy.
Yeah. These. I'm not asking for much.
I don't know.
Yeah. Just asking to shatter some childhoods.
It's like when you log on to Fortnite and you see Vegeta doing flossing, and it's like, what's going on here? What are we doing?
That when you sent me that in the chat, it made me so sad. It actually kind of ruined my childhood a little bit.
I'm sorry, dude.
It was awful.
There's gonna be a whole generation of kids thinking that Vegeta is from Fortnite.
Yeah, that's exactly that happens. Yeah. People will go on Dragon Ball Z and they'll be like, "Yo, the fucking guy with the slick hair from Fortnite, he's in Dragon Ball Z."
And they'll just tweet and be like, "At Fortnite, did you know this game stole your character?" Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. Well, we did it. We've got our 4 locks. We've freestyled a bit of predictions. We know there are going to be some surprises. It's I reckon there could even be something else that's not even on the list that I've laid out here. But amongst, if we had maybe a massive spreadsheet of all the teams that are now under Xbox, that could be a lot, man. Like the Blizzard game as well. I don't know.
Again, name and release in the same year. I just don't. It's too big for that, I think, and especially with how internally hyped that Blizzard game's going to be. Like, I think they're gonna give some people some time to digest that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a reveal for it and maybe a spicy little trailer, cinematic, maybe a bit of gameplay. But that shit's gonna cook for a little while. Yeah.
I'm with you, and I think a lot of the games that we've listed there as we've kind of gone through it, like its next game, ZeniMax next game, like a lot of them could get revealed. Like I think we are looking at another really good showcase later in the year. Release probably not, but I think some of the smaller stuff, like Fallout 3 remaster, maybe a South of Midnight, maybe a Kiln. An indie would be spicy, so I like that Caden picked that. but it's not impossible. Like this stuff has been cooking for a while now, and like the dam has kind of broken now for Xbox as a platform. So I'm expecting stuff to be coming out quite frequently, quite a lot for the next few years. Game Pass stays winning, mad factual. All right, boys, we're an hour and a half in. We kind of covered the news earlier about the internal predictions for Hellblade 2. So the final thing that's got my knickers in a twist. It's got to be in my bonnet. It's burst my tea bag.
Oh, that reminds me, actually, I need to go grab my Switch.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yeah.
Nice. Carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
Right. I know it's okay. No, I was done. So, same guy, right? I spoke about this insider earlier. Nate the Hate. Pretty reliable. And a couple of insiders have now suggested that quite a few Xbox games are going to be going to different platforms this year. It seems like more than anything else, Hi-Fi Rush is going to be coming to Switch at some point this year. And I just don't know what the fuck we're doing here. If we're doing that,
it's a bit weird.
What's going on, guys? I don't know. Am I crazy? Do I think is me thinking this is kind of stupid crazy? You tell me, fellas.
It is kind of stupid. Because it's just weird because you've got such a smash hit that's been associated with Xbox for some period of time now, and is family friendly. It's easily sort of pick upable and identifiable, all that sort of stuff, and then you throw it and kind of muddy the image by putting it on another console, where people should only be associating this new brand with the Xbox brand, this new IP. I feel like it's a little weird, but then you could understand that from their perspective that they just want to get it in more hands, right? And they want it to have more of an outreach and more sales. And obviously with it being on Switch as well, it's going to be a full price sale, right? It's going to be a 50-60 quid game rather than it being available on Games Pass. So you can kind of see it from what they're doing, but I also just think it's kind of greedy and unnecessary because the numbers that Hi-Fi Rush has pulled in apparently they're very happy with it and its performance and how it's done. So why? Why? I don't really see that much to gain from this outside of just being a bit greedy.
What are your thoughts, Ken?
I think greedy is a bit harsh. It's certainly a bit weird, and you can clearly see, they're trying to get more money out of it. Like, but I don't think it's like crazy. I don't think so. I had a point a minute ago, and I think I just lost it. Oh, it was a good point as well.
No. Oh, it was really good.
Those rarely ever come up for you.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Well, you chew on that. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
You just butt in when you're ready to go. All right.
I'll just scream. Just
scream.
Let it all out.
All right. So the reason that I think this is a real bee in my bonnet about this is because we get Hi-Fi Rush, a Game of the Year winner, plenty of nominations, and like Xbox has been on this big long journey to finally try to get its reputation back. And although it's been a pretty good year, not great, but good, in terms of getting its library back up and having exclusive content, it just seems so weird to me to now be like, we're just going to start putting stuff on Switch. Because the last time this happened was with Ori. And then Phil Spencer had an interview and he sort of said, quote, "I don't really love this idea that for every one of our games, there becomes this little rumor on if it's going to end up on the Switch or not. I feel like we should set a better expectation with our fans for that." And I'm like, Phil, come on, buddy. What's going on? Because I think this is a problem because Xbox console sales are not doing great. They're not. In some parts of Europe, they're doing abysmal. In Japan, they're doing abysmal. Better than they were 5 years ago, but abysmal. Everywhere else, they're doing fine. They're retaining the Xbox fan base. But PlayStation's gobbling up everything else, which is somewhat to be expected because Xbox are making the shift. They're broadening their platforms, etc., going on PC, whatever. But it's really starting to make console feel like an afterthought, especially because it fucks with the mind share. Like, how, like, if we're sitting here on a podcast and we're confused about like the rationale or like where games are going, how is a casual meant to know? Like, because you can guarantee something like this happens. Every outlet's going to publish an article saying, "Oh, is Xbox going third party? You know, will Hellblade 2 come to Switch? 2?
Yeah.
You know, what about that?" You know, and it's like this little
They
rumor for
melt
every
your
game, and it's like,
hands.
well, people like the uncertainty around the console is just so high. Like, why would someone want to spend 500 quid on a console where they don't even know if they need it? Like, it might
Yeah,
come to
that
my
was
platform of choice on the Switch.
Mhm.
that you've just touched a little bit on what I've kind of forgot there. So
Go.
people who know that Hi-Fi Rush exists are generally the people who do play games. Like, they're fully aware that it exists on Xbox.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's the problem. I think you kind of made me remember there. Like, the problem is with the more casual base, and then the image of Xbox where they're just kind of like, well, what is Xbox if it's just like you said, if it's going to come to Switch, if it's going to come to PlayStation, if it's going to come to PC, stuff like that. Obviously, there's quite a lot of kind of up in the air for someone who's not necessarily following it, like us and people listening, where we're kind of a bit more entwined in the whole gamosphere of news and releases and stuff.
But they have to buy it as well, is also a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can have Xbox as the preferred platform for some of these titles because it's available via Games Pass rather than a 60 quid outright price on Switch.
Yeah.
I still don't think that's good enough to distinguish.
There's a lot of people that I talk to that, play COD, play FIFA and stuff, and then I tell them about Games Pass. They're like, "What?" And I'm like, well, "What do you mean, what? Like, Game Pass is the best thing on, like, best game deal you can think of." It's like, "Well, I've never heard of it." I'm like, "My goodness!" Like, it's just like, it's so weird when, I guess, how out of the loop a lot of people are with games, because we're so in it. It's hard to see other people just not actually knowing any of these things. So that's a good point that they said there, where what is Xbox now?
And like, to be fair, maybe that's an argument to like the contrary. Maybe like casuals are just so brain dead that like it just won't matter.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it just won't matter. Like,
Yeah.
I think that is the problem. I think for the core Xbox fan base, like, this shit is a problem. But this is a problem. Like, when you've got people who like have disposable income to pick which console they want to go with, they pick Xbox, and then that has had a game problem up to maybe the last few years. They finally start churning out some good hits, and they even start like carving out a bit of a reputation for having like diverse titles, like your Pentiments, like your Grounded, like your Hi-Fi Rushes, like, as well as a couple of big hitters like with your Forzas, with your Starfields, with your Halos, etc., Psychonauts 2. They're carving out this identity, and now it's kind of like, well, that one that just like won Game of the Year, like the real highlight for the platform. Yeah, fuck it, let's get that somewhere else. It's just it's a real problem for the core Xbox gamer. I feel like it really disillusions them because it's like kind of pushing people into PC. And it's just like, ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't know how that's going to work out for you, because like your core Xbox gamer is like, that could set off a chain reaction where console market share gets so bad that third publisher adoption rate starts to get bad. Like, we already saw that at the beginning of the last gen, where Japanese publishers just wouldn't bother supporting Xbox because it's like, what's the point? Like, there's not, in our country, there's like hardly any support for it. So like, if that keeps happening, that could really become a problem. And I don't know if internally Xbox are already saying we are going to drop the console in the next like 10, 15, 20 years, or if they just don't know how much of a consequence this actually has, because the small amount of revenue that they're going to get from publishing this on Switch cannot be worth the uncertainty that this sort of shit makes. Like, every time Xbox pumps
Agreed.
out a game, there's a conversation about like, will this go to PlayStation? Will it go to Switch? And that's not a problem with your PC, with your handhelds, with your clouds, because they're all complementary. But with the other things, they're competitors. And it's like, why would someone want to buy an Xbox if they could get all of the PlayStation exclusives and the possibility of some of the Xbox stuff coming over? Like, it's just silly to me. Like, it's like, there are loads of games that I have not bought, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have not bought that on PlayStation because there is like gossip that it's eventually going to come over to other platforms, and that's like. I imagine, like, for the core, again, the core audience, not casuals, but for the core audience, I bet that's having a similar effect. And like, this is still in rumor territory, so we don't know. But like, I just want to this bee in my bonnet, fucking really stinging my scalp. You know, I think this is silly stuff.
It's going to create that whole image of whenever something is announced or talked about, it's just going to be like like you said, like all the media outlets are going to be like, hold your horses because we don't know where this is going yet. So don't go out and buy an Xbox because it very well is going to come to your PlayStation or your PC or your Switch. So
that's right, yeah,
it's just going to create that with every single release. Like oh, Indiana Jones, but don't buy your Xbox just yet because you don't know. It's a bit shit. I think it's definitely a step backwards. I think you take the wins that are these games, these very highly reviewed games, and you solidify them to your platform. You make it a reason for people to purchase into your ecosystem. It's weird to share it around.
And like we said, it's not a problem because Xbox has expanded their ecosystem. The only thing it's in terms of the strategy, the only thing it's a problem for is the console. Which is like, a real problem because the majority of Xbox's like audience, like dedicated fan base, is on console. And that's not so they're having a lot of success on PC, but of course, like people are buying that stuff a la carte, or they might be subscribed to Game Pass PC, but like that's not like a hardcore audience. For the most part, people are like buying games there. It was like Starfield sales. Starfield sales were really good despite it being on Game Pass PC. And we spoke about this as well, Tim, like the other month when we spoke about like what is it that becomes a system seller. We said that there's like a foundation of really good games that there, and then there's this kind of uppercut, like the 90+ Metacritic bagger that everybody looks at and they're like, oh yeah, that's caught my eye. But although those games justify the purchase, they justify me spending that much money. And HiFi is one of those games, and so was Ori. And like I'm just shrugging my shoulders at this. Like, what's the strategy here? What's the vision? Like Ori was a game of the year. There was a 90+ back in the day too. So it's like, what are we doing here? Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think like it worries me a bit because I think like maybe that is just on the roadmap to just abandon console and they're just fumbling the messaging around it, or they just don't care if the console market share gets eroded because that's on the roadmap anyway. So like eventually there's not going to be consoles because that is some analysts feel that is the case. The consoles aren't going to be around in sort of 15, 20 years time. So fuck it, let's make a bit of money by putting it on Switch, but not on PlayStation. Interestingly, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. We don't think it's the right call. It's just a bit weird, mixed messaging.
Because yeah, man, like I suppose they're not going to put. I see a lot of people saying that it's not a big deal. Like if a Forza Horizon was going to another platform, that would be a big deal, or like a Halo Infinite or a Starfield or whatever. But like yeah, but obviously, and it's an issue regardless. It's an issue because it creates uncertainty. Like that's my problem. It's not really about the game. It's about the fact that people are like outlets are going to grab this and run, and people are going to see that. Casuals are going to see that. Smooth brain casuals, and they're going to think, well, what's the point of me owning an Xbox? So they're going to be given the choice of a PC or a console, like a PlayStation or a Switch, and the rest is history. So, yeah, I think in the long run they end up losing market share for what feels like a silly decision. The only rationale I can see here is that maybe because Tango Gameworks is a Japanese dev, maybe they thought like it was a dev request thing. Maybe the dev was like, can we put this on Switch? Because Switch is popular in Japan.
Yeah.
And there's hardly anybody playing the game we made where we live because there's like 3 Xboxes in circulation in Japan.
Yeah,
so
potentially.
That's maybe the other side of it. But even then, like, I don't know, I just feel like there needs to be a bit more cutthroat for the overall vision. And again, maybe, there'll be such an avalanche of games over the next 5 years that this really won't matter. But I still think it's silly stuff. I think they're really messing up their mind share with this, if that is going to be true.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, then we're coming up to 2 hours. That covers the stories for today. Anything else that anybody wanted to touch on? Any other like upcoming game releases or anything like that anybody wanted to touch on before we start winding the show down? I don't know if there's anything coming out. I think that Prince of Persia game's coming out soon, isn't it? But I don't think there's anything else for January that I can
It looks
think
pretty
of.
cool, you know. I'm actually
It
kind of
does look
interested
cool.
in now. I
It
remember
does
when it
look
first
pretty good.
was shown off. I was like, for fuck's sake, because I wanted I remember
Like a 3D.
I remember watching it with you guys, and I was like, oh really? But the more
Mm.
gameplay I look, I'm like, okay, this looks cool.
I think it looks
right.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
yeah.
I'll buy it full price. I'm not really, because I don't think I'll get full price. But as soon as it's in a sale, I think I'll pick it up.
Mm.
And of course, I'm very excited for Tekken at the end of this month. Literally count the days.
Yeah, there's
But other
Tekken.
than
Yeah,
that-
there's something. No, I don't think there is anything that's like multiplayer or Xbox aside from Tekken. In the next month or two. Obviously, you got your big ones outside of that. Like I know, obviously, I'm looking forward to Rebirth on PlayStation, but I don't think there's anything multiplayer.
Is that January?
No, it's Feb, like 24th, I think. So, still like a month and a bit away, but
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than the shadow drop of the 102 Metacritic game Kiln. Other than that, yeah.
Can't wait, man.
Gonna be a pot main.
Me too.
What kind of pot would you be? You'd be
We
a
all
bowl?
know.
Would you be a vase? Would you be a?
He'd be a
I'd
dick
like
pot.
a dick shaped pot. Yeah.
Okay,
we all know.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'd be like chunky.
I thought you may have.
But then it would get skinny, and then the top would be a bit wider.
Okay, I thought maybe you have had like an insightful.
No.
No.
Dick and cock. I'm penis.
Nice.
All right. Fucking hell. All right. Let's wrap this bad boy up then. If you joined us for the podcast today, thank you very much. Consider subscribing, liking, come and follow us over on Twitter. If you've got any suggestions, you can leave them there. If you're a fan of the Cockpot, you can tell us there too. Other than that, we'll be back next week, maybe with some more developer direct stuff. I tried to like not go hyper detail with it today because like we're probably going to be repeating ourselves, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll have some more rumors then. That'll be exciting stuff. And if we can, it would be really nice to live stream it together as a 3. But if it does come to fruition, but the timing can be a bit difficult sometimes, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to go date and time to figure that out. Yeah.
All right. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. We'll catch you on the flip.
Good guys.
Bye bye.